we watched Scott Rolen be the only person inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame today. And honestly, it was a tough one for me for a while, but then I realized what that likely means. As soon as it happened, I'm saying to myself, the Hall of Very Good is going to be trending on Twitter, because that's exactly what Scott Rolen was, right? I'm not always one for big adages and cliches, but this is a Hall of Very Good moment. Scott Rolen was a very good player. Was he ever the best third baseman in Major League Baseball? Was he ever one of the top 2 or 3 third basemen in Major League Baseball? Likely his Gold Gloves got him in, because outside of that, in 17 years, he made the All-Star team 7 times. So you're talking about once every 2 or 3 years the guy's an All-Star. Okay, he was very good. But being a Gold Glover, I'm sure that's what put him over the top, because he just had an average career at third base. He's not getting in. But still, Scott Rolen was very good. Was Scott Rolen great? No, he's not. So this is the case of Major League Baseball and writers understanding. I talked about this with Rob Parker a little bit last night, who had a vote. I know he didn't vote for Scott Rolen.
No, Gary Sheffield only.
Gary Sheffield was his only guy in the back. There weren't a lot of
How'd that work out?
There were not enough for him. He only got over 50%.
I don't know if he'd started at like 3%. I think he'd be trending towards enshrinement.
But here's the big thing, and this is where Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting, where I roll my eyes. Before I get to why, then I got excited at the very end. There was nobody really to go in this year. Okay, if you have certain thoughts about A-Rod, and I mean not Aaron Rodgers, I mean Alex Rodriguez, not the real A-Rod, which is Aaron Rodgers. If you have thoughts about A-Rod and Manny Ramirez and everything that went on during their career, I get it, right? These guys are clear Hall of Fame players, but I understand that. Everybody else was all very good. Billy Wagner was very good. Andrew Jones was very good. Carlos Beltran was very good. He's also dogged by scandal. Omar Vizquel was very good. Bobby Abreu was very good. Todd Helton was very good. Were any of these guys big-time stars? We say, okay, these are some of the best players in baseball, top player at their position. No, they weren't. But Major League Baseball knows we have a problem if we have a run where we can't put people in the Hall of Fame. Right? It looks bad. It looks like we don't have great players anymore. It's a bad optic. And really, it shouldn't mean anything, but it's a bad optic when in January comes up, nobody makes the Hall of Fame. We're not putting anybody in the Hall of Fame. Nope, not doing it. Meanwhile, you should go in because you qualify, not because, boy, we got to pick one guy this year, and it just so happens to be Scott Rolen, right? That's what I look at more than just, hey, what's wrong with the voting, and because that's a topic that's talked about all the time. It's just, I know, hey, people want to make sure that the sport of baseball, they grease things and keep going forward. And Scott Rolen was the one guy to have momentum, so okay, Scott Rolen goes in the Hall of Fame when clearly he isn't. And any other year, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. If you had a year where Randy Johnson was going in and somebody else big was going in, guess what? He's not getting in. But he's only a Hall of Famer because somebody else bigger is not on the ballot. That's why Hall of Very Good is where it really gets to me, because he's only a Hall of Famer because there was nobody else to vote this year. If there was one other guy out there, if there was one other guy that was, he's a slam dunk guy this year, nobody else is getting in. But because there was no one else, Scott Rolen's getting in. There may not be any other year in Major League Baseball in which Scott Rolen's getting in, but he got in this year.
Well, and it comes back to this. For me, it's a museum. And what do you need to do to have people really want to attend a museum? You need a new exhibit. You need a reason to show up. And I love the Crime Dog. We've celebrated his entire his entire catalog. 16 out of 16 votes in the committee that elected him. And for Scott Rolen, Gold Gloves, nearly 900 extra base hits, a top 5 MVP once, Rookie of the Year. You've got some accolades, but the Gold Gloves get you over, and it's still only halfway to Brooks Robinson. Just kind of throw it into the career leaders at the position. And we've obviously seen what Nolan Arenado has done in his career. But when we get down to it, it's the process of getting people to come to Cooperstown for a week to celebrate the greatness of baseball and its history and come shake some hands, kiss some babies. For a lot of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, they make most of their money signing autographs, taking photos during that week. So it's part of the business of it as well. I mean, we've just got it sounds crass, and I don't mean to rain on Scott Rolen's parade. I'm happy for him. Congratulations. He gets in. And the debate then goes on of, all right, well, where's Jeff Kent? Right, when we talk about position scarcity, because there's only 8. He's the 18th, I think is right, the 18th third baseman
That's correct.
to go in. So, you talk about position scarcity and where you are, and Jeff Kent just had a liking problem. Nobody did. So he doesn't get the same push, right? So I think you're just in that unfortunate run of years. I mean, David Ortiz walked in. I guess nothing happened potentially scandalous after it was officially outlawed, right? Mitchell report and whatever doesn't matter in the voting, and because everybody likes him, boom, there he is, Hall of Fame. No, and look, it's all public record. I'm not casting aspersions and guessing on anything, but he was a doubles hitter who went by David Arias before he became David Ortiz. He's your one guy last year. So they all breathed a sigh of relief because they had a guy whose number, popularity, city, World Series wins, all of that allowed him to dance in. So they avoided this very question a year ago. Hey, we have a guy that's big. So cool. People will come see that. That's great. Fred McGriff got in from the Veterans Committee. We got to have at least one other guy, don't we?
Yeah,
we got to have at least one other guy. And he barely gets in. And I made the joke about, if it started at 3%, for Sheffield, then maybe he finds his way in. But, same thing. Everybody's got, one eye towards, what was going on for that 25-year period, but they're selective, right? They pick and choose which guys they like more than the others in terms of the voting, which is why it's problematic. I like that in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You got to have like 40 guys and women that get in a room and they yell at each other. And you got to make an argument and stare each other down in that vote. There's no anonymous, hey, I submitted this online or I mailed this in and signed it. No. You got to own it. And obviously a lot of people do it for content. Here's who I voted for and why. But there's a lot of folks that still don't. But it goes back to Rolen started where he did in terms of percentages, very low. Todd Helton started very low. It's like, and then all of a sudden you gain momentum 5-6 years later. Suddenly you're looked at that much differently by the same people. It makes absolutely no sense.
No, it doesn't. The only thing that I'm happy about is it means if Rolen got in this year, David Wright is getting in next year, his first year. Because if you take Scott Rolen, you got to take David Wright. I'm sorry. If you're lowering the bar for Scott Rolen, you're taking Captain America. He's going in.
Wow, you're trying to get Captain America in here?
I'm getting him in.
What has he got? 242,
no
296.
chance.
Getting him in. Yes, he's getting in. He had a shorter career, but he had a better career. He had a shorter career,
What
but
are
it
his
was better.
playoff numbers? Horrible.
Well, come on. Playoffs don't count. Playoffs don't count. Stop.
What do you mean he's getting in?
No chance.
He's getting it. Of course,
You're
he's
out of
getting
your
it.
mind.
He's getting.
Maybe the
he was an
Mets
all-star.
Hall.
He was an all-star the same amount of times as Scott Rolen. He played way less. I mean,
Two
he
gold
was a better
gloves.
player. He's
He
got
never won a World Series. Scott Rolen did.
It doesn't matter. They let Scott Rolen in. You're letting Captain America in. You're
No
letting
chance.
Cap in. Cap is getting.